What's going on, guys? United Gaming back with another MLB The Show 20 video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about 10, not 10 legends, quite a few more than 10. But we're going to be talking about some legends that I would like to see in MLB The Show 21. Now, these are my personal opinions, and I'm a Yankees fan, so there's some Yankees on this list. I don't care. This is my opinion. These are the cards I want to see, and I think will be very fun to see in the game. And we'll go over each card kind of briefly because there is a good amount of them. And we'll probably talk about how we'll see them and what their card could possibly look like. And even for some of them, we do have some concept cards. So let's kick it off with the first one. So the first one, I'm going with Derek Jeter. He's a card. He's probably my favorite player of all time. And seeing him in the game, that would be so much fun. Do I think he'd be the best in the game? No. But it would be a ton of fun to have him in MLB The Show. So there's two different cards I think we could see of Jeter. I think the most likely one is the Signature Series, considering he played his entire Yankee career with the Yankees. He played his entire career with the Yankees and was really good for his entire career. But if we are going to get an World Series card, I kind of think we'll get a 2006 Gold Glove or Silver Slugger. He finished second in MVP voting that year. So, I mean, that's probably the two likely scenarios we have for him. I'm going to throw a Signature Series Derek Jeter on the screen right now that I made. So, yeah, what we could expect out of Jeter, a lot of good high contact, good defense, not the best power in the world, pretty good vision, and decent speed, I'd say. So, yeah, that's what we could expect out of Derek Jeter in MLB The Show 21 if we get him, which I sure hope we do. For our second concept card, we're going with one of Jeter's teammates, Alex Rodriguez. Now, I think this card will be much better than Jeter, and, I mean, it's the same position. So, how we could see an A-Rod? I think we could see three different types of A-Rods, and they'd all be really, really good. So, it's up to you guys which one you'd like to see the most. We could either see a Mariners A-Rod, a Rangers A-Rod, or a Yankees A-Rod. So there's a lot of good. A-Rod was basically good for his entire career. So you can either go with like a Signature Series Mariners, like a Awards Rangers, or like a Prime or something Yankees. I don't know. Whatever you want to go with for A-Rod, I'm cool with it. He'll be a power-hitting shortstop with good defense, great speed. Probably the best shortstop in the game if he is released into MLB The Show 21. And I just think he'll be an overall really, really fun card. Our next card we're going to talk about is our first pitcher. It is the lefty Randy Johnson, one of the most fun pitchers in the entire game. Really big. I don't even know what to say about him. But he is a really, really, really fun card. And we need some better pitchers. And I think he would fit in quite nicely. So, Randy Johnson, you know, he's a big lefty, throws super hard in his career. And he played for a bunch of different teams. We'd likely either see a Seattle Randy Johnson, or we'd see like an Arizona one. But he was just really, really good. He won 4 Cy Youngs in Arizona, so I think we more likely would see him as an Arizona card than a Seattle one, but even then, we could get a postseason 2001 or something like that for Randy Johnson. He would be a fun card. He'd probably have outlier. He'd probably have a lot of good pitches, and it would just be a really good card in the game. I feel like he would be super effective, and would kind of be like the MLB The Show 19 Clayton Kershaw. For the next card, we do have a concept one, and it is Andres Galarraga. Now, I'm going to throw a Signature Series design I put on the screen for the Colorado Rockies. For him, obviously, a lot of power, I expect. And, I don't know, he seems like just a fun card, a fun little slugger from that time period, from a bit of the steroid era. That will be a fun addition to the game. I don't have a whole lot to say about him, but I do think Signature Series with the Rockies would fit best, and he'd just be an overall slugger. So, yeah, Andres Galarraga. As if we didn't need more sluggers, here's another one. Now, if we're looking at the next card, this one is probably one of the most forgotten about guys that we definitely need in the game, and that is Carl Yastrzemski, granddad of Mike Yastrzemski, and one of the best players of all time. So, what we could likely expect for him, he was a Boston Red Sox, is he did win the Triple Crown one of his years, so we could probably see a Triple Crown type card for him if we were expecting a card. It would probably be a Triple Crown related one, considering he did win that award, and it's probably the most famous thing he has done. One of the best players for the Red Sox. Unfortunately, he did not get a ring, which is honestly quite unfortunate considering how good of a player he was. Great with the Red Sox, triple crown. Yeah, he probably will end up getting a triple crown if he does play, if he does get in the game. And honestly, I feel like he'll be a very good hitter. Do I think the defense will be great? Probably not, but I feel like he'll be an absolute slugger at the plate. Good power, good hitting, maybe a little bit of speed, and he can play probably everywhere in the outfield plus first base. So he will be a fun addition into MLB The Show 21. Looking at our next card, we got a highly requested one and one that kind of needs to get in the game and soon, and this is Joe Mauer. This card, we need more catchers in the game, and that's a fact. The catching in this game, in MLB The Show in general, is honestly kind of weak. So we need some more of the best catchers of all time, and Joe Mauer is a great place to start. He'd be just a great signature series for the Twins. I feel like would fit best for him. And, you know, there are some other options. Could do like a prime card, but I do think he will fit in nicely. So looking at stats, he probably have pretty high contact, pretty good power as well, with great defense behind the plate. I just think Joe Mauer is an essential in MLB The Show 21. We need more catching depth in this game. A lot of the other positions have depth, but catching is kind of a weak one. Get more catchers in the game, SDS. Joe Mauer, get him in the game. For taking a look at our next card, we got Joe Dimaggio, another legend that obviously should be in the game. And this isn't a Yankees bias. He should be in the game. Now, what kind of card I think we'll get? We'll get a 1941 MVP card. Do I think it'll be good? Yes. Do I think it'll be one of the best in the game? Probably not, but I do think it would be a good center fielder. Nonetheless, Joe DiMaggio, obviously a great hitter. There's not a whole lot to say. 1941 MVP. I did make a concept card. It is on the screen right now. So, Joe DiMaggio, get him in the game, SDS. He's one of the few outfielders that we are still missing. So, if we're looking at our next person for this list, and this is a very high requested one. I see a lot of people asking for this one, and that's Alfonso Soriano. I think this will be a great addition considering he's the only person to ever be in the 40-40 club. Great power, great speed. I think it would be a really fun card in the game. And for people who cheese teams, I mean, it'd be a great addition, but you can't really cheese with him because he's got all that pop. Why would you waste it if he has that much pop? So anyway, Alfonso Soriano, he'd have great power, great speed. I feel like he'd be a very enjoyable card in MLB Show 21. So SDS has got to go out there and get him. Now, if we're taking a look at our next card, it is another big premier slugger from the steroid era. It is Sammy Sosa. I think we could get this in the form of a signature series card, or a prime card, or a card when we got that home run rate with Mark McGwire. So, yeah, overall, Sammy Sosa would just be a slugger. He wouldn't be good for much else. I think he would maybe probably similar to some of the home run derby cards we see in the game. Whole lot of power, but not a lot of good other value. But signature series, prime, and maybe even that year where he got in the race with Mark McGwire, those would all be super fun cards to add to MLB The Show 21. Looking at our next card, we got another pitcher, and it is Pedro Martinez, one of the best pitchers of all time at the height of the steroid era. And I watched a video on it. It was truly amazing about all the stats on how good he was when he did play. I do have a concept card for him. I'm going to throw it on the screen now. It is a Cy Young card, and when he went back-to-back in 1999 and 2000. If we're taking a look at the card that I made, it is a 2000 card. So honestly, one of the best pitching seasons of all time, and I think he'll be very effective. Have a fastball, good changeup, good slider. He would be a great pitcher. He wouldn't have like the cutter or the sinker, but I still think he would be very, very effective, and he'd be overall a fun card. Even though I'm a Red Sox fan, I do like Pedro Martinez. He would be a fun addition to the game. So Pedro Martinez, just get him in the game already. I don't know what we're doing. Taking a look at our final pitcher of the list, we got Johan Santana. I feel like this would be a great lefty at add to the game, considering left-handed starting pitchers are so weak in this game. You got Kershaw, and I mentioned Randy Johnson. If they could add those two lefties in the game, Johan and Randy, that's a big boost, considering that there's not a lot of good lefties in this game. The only one I can think of that's really good off the top of my head is Clayton Kershaw and maybe Chris Sale as well. Besides that, there's not a whole lot of other great left-handed starting pitchers. Johan and Randy kind of set that thing. And I think we could get either a Cy Young card or a prime card with the Twins for Johan Santana. I feel like that'd be a super fun left-handed pitcher to add into the game. One of the most underrated players of all time. So, just, I know I keep saying this, but put him in the game, SDS. All right. Now we're going to go into a little section where it's a whole lot of big sluggers, and I mean a whole lot of big sluggers. Starting it off, we got Mark McGwire, the person in the race with Sammy Sosa, and I feel like he'd be another great addition to the game. I mean, he'd be very similar to Sosa. Not a whole lot of value except for his hitting. So, I mean, just two pure sluggers. So everything I said about Sosa kind of applies to McGwire. And I feel like he'd still be a really great bench bat. And even if his hitting attributes are really good, he might even sneak into your lineup like someone like Juan Soto in this year's game. As for what kind of card we can expect, probably a signature series with the Cardinals. Or, once again, maybe some sort of prime card. So, yeah, Mark McGwire, I know he took steroids. I personally don't really care. He'd be a fun card in the game. So, for our next card, this one is probably the least likely to happen out of all the ones I'm going to name so far, and that is Barry Bonds. As much as we want him, it's likely not going to happen because Bonds has never really been great with the media, and just in general, I don't think they're going to be able to get his rights. So, anyway, even if they somehow miraculously get Barry Bonds, what could we expect out of him? Probably a signature series with the Giants or like a 2004 MVP season. He'd have probably maxed out hitting stats. He'd have pretty good speed as well. The vision would be maxed out. He would basically be an MLB The Show 19 Babe Ruth. That's basically what he would be, except probably a little bit better fielding. I do think Barry Bonds would be a great addition to the game. Do I think he's coming? No. But I sure hope he does. So, rounding out a little bit of the sluggers, we got Hank Aaron. In my opinion, the kind of quote-unquote true home run king. I'm not even going to get into that. But anyway, Hank Aaron, unfortunately, he did pass away recently, which has made him getting into the game a lot less likely, because you're not going to... SES isn't going to go to a family who's mourning and be like, yo, can he be in the video game? That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, Hank Aaron, I do think he would be very similar to Bonds and McGwire. Great slugger, one of the best hitters in the entire game. Probably a little bit better fielding and some decent speed as well. But there's not a whole lot to talk about with Hank Aaron. He'd probably just be a slugger, signature series card, and I feel like that would fit him the best. So, if we're rounding out our list for today with a concept card, and that is Roberto Clemente. I feel like he'd be a great addition considering his number was 21. It's MLB The Show 21. I feel like it would fit perfectly. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm not extremely likely on it, but if it did happen, I think it would be amazing. I think we could get a 1966 MVP card. And yeah, Roberto Clemente, he would be a great addition to the game. Great fielding, great speed, great power, great hitting. He would be a very fun addition to the game. And I do think a lot of people would enjoy seeing him in MLB The Show 21. So that's going to end today's video talking about legends I would like to see in MLB The Show 21. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That is the best way to support the channel. I'm Unit Gaming. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.